While being courted by Hollywood, Egoyan received Russell Banks's novel, The Sweet Hereafter, as a birthday gift from his wife.
The idea for the novel came from an article that I read in the New York Times a year after a school bus accident in a South Texas Mexican-American community, and it was a follow-up article. Before the accident, where there was all this community interaction and support. Afterwards, all the lawyers flew in and everybody started suing everybody. And people were all alienated from one another. I was just fascinated by that and thought, I wonder what would happen if I could imagine it into upstate New York, small town. And I wanted to explore a community. That was another notion behind the novel, rather than a single individual character.
The moment I read it, I just knew that there was something really powerful in this story.
And I think right after the reading, he had, for the first time, the idea that he would like to do an adaptation.
At the time I read the book and I first approached his agent to get the option, they said, no way, it's sold to a Hollywood studio.
There had been another script already written based on The Sweet Hereafter, which was not viable and was never made.
It was more of a Hollywood concept, and the focus was strictly on the Nicole Burnell character. They did the opposite of what I did in the novel, and the opposite, in a way, of what Atom did in the film, in that they just focused the story entirely around this one girl who survived this accident and who was abused sexually, and built the story around that. And it really didn't capture what I was after in the novel, and I think what Atom was after ultimately in the film wasn't really the kind of film that Fox Searchlight wasn't much interested in either, so they let the option lapse and rights returned to me until Atom came along.
Egoyan eventually met Banks through a mutual friend, author Margaret Atwood.
And it was very interesting to me because I could see with each film he kind of taught himself how to make the next film. This could be interesting because he's at a certain point with Exotica that if he makes another jump, that would be a real interesting movie.
I met him in Montreal and he told me that, well, the studio wants to re-option it, but I don't think they're going to make this film. They've been sitting on it for so long. If you can promise me you're going to really make it, then I'll let you have the option.
Their vision of the audience for it was very different, I think, than Atom's vision of the audience. In many ways, his view of the audience for his adaptation was that of the novels, a literate and serious audience, looking for something literate and engaged and serious rather than mere entertainment. And he's not a guy who builds a movie around one heroic or anti-heroic figure. He really uses actors, and he writes for an ensemble, uses actors as a group. You know what it's about, but who's it really? Well, it's about all. It's about the community. And I found that to be really attractive.
With Egoyan busy at work on a Hollywood thriller, his option to adapt the book began to run out.
I was about to let it go, and then out of the blue, I was asked to be on the jury at the Cannes Film Festival, and for 10 days I was removed from Hollywood and got to see all these movies which were so much more in my world. And I came back and I left the thriller and concentrated on Sweet Hereafter, because I don't think if I had that separation from Hollywood, I would have understood what I was about to let go. It's a really dangerous place, and I think success, like the type of success that Exotica had, it makes you into, the flavor of the month or the week or the day. Things move really fast there. And for that moment in time, people all want to solicit you to kind of get their projects going. And it's very seductive when people are paying you money and they're treating you really well, and you're surrounded by people who are really smart and intelligent and seem to be talking about the same thing you're talking about, but they're talking about it from an industrial perspective. And if you're interested in pursuing the art of what film can be, I think we have a really amazing system here.
Though comfortably back in his element, Egoyan would still face adversity in taking Banks' story from page to screen.
Atom was shattered. Atom was he was beside himself.